I miss you too, Jimmy. I do.
Oh, what? Oh, sorry.
Andy, I've got. Oh my God! Oh my God!
His head fell off.
Andy, I've got to say, your obsession is starting to become concerning for this office. This is an intervention, and I've written a letter.
It's 3 days without a laptop, dude.
Andy, when you touch the Jim Groom mask, it makes me feel uncomfortable.
All right, Timmy, get it all out.
All right.
Welcome to DTLT Today.
Welcome.
I'm Andy Rush.
And I'm Tim Owens. And you know, what I've heard, actually, is that there's this big conspiracy. So Jim told us he was going up to New York, and he's actually been posting videos as if he's at Occupy Wall Street and doing something like that.
Yeah, I've seen
some
of these.
But he's got some sort of speaking engagement.
Right. I've seen some of these so-called videos that he's supposedly posted on the web.
But we found a video today, and we think we figured it out.
Yeah, it's damning evidence, too.
It is. He got himself a nice suit.
Yep.
Fresh shave, haircut.
Yep, standing in front of a white brick wall somewhere.
We should play the video.
Go ahead.
We found out what Jim Groom's really been up to, so here he is.
On learning, not on technology. This all adds up to OpenClass being truly amazing. And the most amazing part is the impact it will have on students, on learning, and on the world. Join OpenClass today and help us bring down the walls in education.
Oh, hey. Hi, we had some technical difficulties just not starting the video from the beginning. So you got a little bit of a taste there of Jim Groom. Let's start this video again.
The LMS, as you know it, dead. Look, it's only ever been an ineffective administrative tool. It's closed, it's clunky to use, it's costly. Well, the walls impeding modern digital education, they're now coming down. Meet OpenClass, a new kind of learning environment. One that's open, scalable, and free to everyone. Breaking down barriers and transforming the learning experience. OpenClass goes beyond the LMS. It's a dynamic, fully cloud-based solution that makes smart use of technology to revolutionize education. It's got all the LMS functionality needed to manage courses, but it actually advances education by stimulating social learning and the exchange of content, coursework, and ideas. All of that from one integrated platform. And we've been working with Google to ensure that OpenClass's features integrate seamlessly with their Google Apps for Education. OpenClass is ushering in a whole new era of learning, and that's completely open and ridiculously easy. And did we mention? It's totally free. When we say open, we mean free-flowing communication and collaboration, not just across classrooms and campuses, but around the globe. When we say easy, we mean it's intuitive. Intuitive to set up, to integrate, and start using immediately. It puts the focus on learning, not on technology. This all adds up to OpenClass being truly amazing. And the most amazing part is the impact it will have on students, on learning, and on the world. Join OpenClass today and help us bring down the walls in education.
You know, there's one thing I noticed at the bottom of that, and it was just right along the bottom, and you may not have noticed it, Andy, but OpenClass is actually not some sort of separate product.
Right.
It's Pearson.
I've heard of them.
How about that?
I hear they're into the education market.
The publishers? Yeah. So Pearson announced this today, that they are getting into the LMS market by LMS dead.
Yeah.
Dead. Which sounds exactly like what Jim Groom would say, so it's very clear what's been going on there. He's sold out. But luckily, we still have the spirit of Jim Groom here, so we'll be able to speak through him since he's gone on to somewhere else.
The Wicked Witch of Dr. Oblivion.
Exactly.
So, well, we've had a lot of fun with this announcement, and George Siemens also had a post.
He did.
Relating to this and talking about education and making platforms out of them and so forth. And needless to say, I think I can speak for Jim, speak for Martha, speak for all of us, and say that we're a little bit skeptical.
A little bit.
Of this whole idea.
Just a tad.
Sure, it's good that they partnered with Google in a sense, but I mean a lot of the talking points that they kind of hit on, and the little pop-ups that appear next to his head are the kind of stuff that just kind of contradict themselves right away.
Yeah.
Just this whole idea of
Free,
we've got this free, open, easy thing that's unlike any other LMS that you've ever used, but it's an LMS, and here, go use it. And we're doing this out of the goodness of our heart, and there's no strings. They should have said no strings attached, and that would have sealed the deal.
I am so sick of the word open.
Right.
Can we just throw it out right now and just be done with it? Like this idea of, it's open, so don't question what we're doing. It's clearly a loss leader for this publisher to sell content, and they say as much in the Inside Higher Ed article, and even on the Chronicle article. They say, well, yeah, this is their business. Pearson is in the content business, and they feel they're taking a different strategy to it in saying that the LMS itself as a product is not viable, which, to be fair, it's not.
Sure.
It is just something in which to deliver content, and since they're the ones selling the content, they feel like they can sell it through this medium. But then don't offer it up for free.
Right.
And this is the same problem that I have with Android, is that Google puts this out here and says we have this open mobile application and OS environment completely free. Just please use our stuff. That'd be great. And all of a sudden, and as if they didn't have something to profit from it and something to gain from it.
Sure. I mean, you look at this and you are waiting for the other shoe to drop.
Sure.
To try to say, okay, so how are they going to insinuate themselves into the education process? And obviously, who knows how much longer textbooks will be around.
Yeah. So
obviously they need to go into some different directions, and this is just their way of saying, whatever we can get out of this LMS pie, let's take it on and see what direction it goes in.
Well, and the question that always comes up with these is, okay, so it's an LMS. Does that mean I get to look at it? If you're open, do I get to look at it from the outside? Because there's this thing called the internet where, normally if you publish content, I should be able to see that content, right?
Well, and there's that that contradictory statement as we're watching this and thinking about an LMS and saying it's free, it's open. Well, is it open like the web? Is it available so that you can see this stuff? Can you share this stuff easily?
Right.
And so it brings to the fore the question, why does there then need to be an LMS?
Yeah.
Why can't you just kind of say, here's some open tools that you might want to use, but this is obviously a drive for their piece of the pie.
Siemens makes a good point with that. So we're always talking about the tools, and he talks about platforms, and that for educators, they want to just have some sort of easy platform to use instead of all of these various tools. You've got the tech savvy folks like us and the DIY educators that will put up with having to use Google over here and having to use WordPress over here and all these different separate things. But most educators want some central place that's also easy to use as a concept. And he said, I wouldn't be surprised if at some point, similar to you go to Facebook.com to access and use Facebook, that you go to Pearson.com, and that is the LMS. That is your environment in which students go to do things, as opposed to logging into this separate system, but then having to go to WordPress to do this or go here to do that.
Well, and he also mentioned that Facebook is popular because of that platform scenario. It isn't necessarily anything that's any good.
Sure.
And if Pearson's going to just simply do the same thing, we'll just have another product that's out there that's not going to be any good, and certainly not any good for education. And that's the other language that I have a problem with. Is it's this whole idea that this new open class thing is going to change education again. Yeah. Just like any other product that's out there is going to change education. You know,
Yeah.
and you know,
changing education is a big business, Andy.
Yeah,
there's
I know.
money to be made in changing education.
I know.
And
When
Pearson
when you mention the word change,
Yeah.
it means good things always, right?
Yeah.
And you know, we've had the discussions and the arguments about, you know, whether iPads, you know, where they fit, and that's really more what the question is where this stuff fits into education, not that it changes it. And of course, we're skeptical about how this is going to make any difference, you leave with these announcements just kind of scratching your head and thinking, you know, really, what good is this, and what is the you know, the devious you know, thought behind the curtain.
Well, I mean, if we had sort of the 7 levels of hell of monetizing education,
Yeah.
clearly this would not be at the lowest level or even maybe the highest. You know, you've got things like Moodle that took a similar concept. It's a free piece of software, yet free in that you can install it and use it if you want, but in terms of getting support and having updates and things like that, you've either got to do it yourself or you're going to pay a company to host it and do it. And that seems to be what's interesting about this announcement. It's not just going after Blackboard and playing in that space. It's going after Moodle. So the people who are going to be implementing this, it's a Google Apps product. So people who are already tied into Google Apps for Education are going to want to look at this, and it's a one-click process, and integrate this into our system, and there you go. Whereas with Moodle, you have to think about those extra costs for hosting, for maintenance, and all that other stuff. And they're saying, we'll support it, we'll update it for you, we'll maintain it, and you don't have to think twice about it. So if this is, you know, whereas with Blackboard, it really is awful, this is maybe less awful in that stance that it's a system that you could use as a means to the end. You know, as of yet, we haven't gotten rid of the LMS completely, even though clearly he says it's dead. But, you know, if someone had to pit me one against the other and we had to choose here, as opposed to someone going all completely DIY and just building it on their own hosting with WordPress and doing all of it themselves, this would be a better model, I think. But
yeah, well, I mean, none of this is any more compelling than something like WordPress, where you could do a lot of this stuff on your own and integrate Google Docs or whatever Google pieces and components or anything else. You know, why just Google? You know, aren't there other good technologies out there that they should mention? You know, why not Flickr? So it's just this whole corporate partnerization stuff. You know, we're your friends. We're here to offer you something for free. That just always leaves a bad taste in our mouths, and
I think they're going to have some issues here because, you know, they're a publisher of content, but the thing about an LMS is you want to be able to have content from all different areas get pulled into there. Yeah. So are you going to allow open educational resources in here? I hope to God you are. Yeah. You know, is Houghton Mifflin and other publishers going to allow their content to come into open class? That's a little bit more questionable, because why would you give your enemy the upper hand there? Yeah,
I don't know.
So you know, there's deals that are going to be had to be had in that realm as well, where they're going to have to make deals with other publishers to say, come on, you know, we'll allow you to put your stuff in here. Please, you know, do it for the web, do it for open, you know. And meanwhile, they're saying, yeah, your LMS is free, but you're selling your content, so I'm not going to help you do that.
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to see is a genuine strategy behind this. Yeah. And it just seems to me like it's almost like a Google Beta program in a sense. You know, this is just another Google Beta piece of software that we're going to put this out there. We're going to see how it does. People may add great things to it, and we'll see what happens. But I don't see a whole lot of there. And hey, we could be talking a year from now, and Pearson has proven us wrong, but I'm guessing not.
Yeah, and I think to what I would say to that is similar to what Tom Woodward has said in the past about vendors and things like that, is that use things as a means to an end and know what you're getting out of it. So if the idea behind this is that, yes, we get a free LMS that has Google integration that we wanted anyway, and it's free and it's updated and it's maintained and we're going to go with that, then do that, yes. But don't feel like at that point when they put on the hard sell for Pearson content that, hey, you know, it would be a good idea if we bought Pearson textbooks and e-textbooks, and they've got this great platform, and hey, look at that, it works with OpenClass just so well, gosh darn. And, you know what you're getting out of it, and realize that you don't have to buy into the whole package just because they're pushing this on as a loss leader. You can get the first hit for free and maybe do that and walk away. That's my that's my drug laden message.
And I can't do any better than that.
No.
So, well,
but you know what? I think the soul of Jim had one other thing that he wanted to say. I hear him speaking, and I wouldn't want him to not be heard.
I thought I heard some kind of like grumbling sounds
What
emanating
did you
from
want
the
to tell
couch.
the audience, Jim? Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll see if I can convey this to them in a typical Jim Groom fashion.
Be my guest.
You're selling your fucking souls!
That's all for DTLT today. Thanks for joining us.
Take it easy.
Thank you.